turn quite so hard there and try and thread the needle, and everyone needs to activate their best torpedo beats at the moment. I think we're sighting another submarine apparently. We'll have a look at that in a second. Tighter turn here please, just to thread that a little harder. And hello everyone, and welcome back to War on the Sea, where we have of course once again taken Guadalcanal quite some time ago now and upgraded that to a level 3 airfield very swiftly indeed. Still fighting off some last defenders there as well as on Melita over here. Absolutely not a problem. I'm going to send these supplies immediately back to the New Hebrides there, and they can of course cycle around for more supplies and such. So I think really for Melita as well, getting at least one airfield over here would be amazing for us. It gives some increased sight of course, and obviously more aircraft, which would be really useful indeed. I believe it's more attack aircraft in Melita rather than the float planes you get in Florida Islands. We did also sight a minor battleship group over here. However, there is the core strength of a single Yamato in this task force over here, backed up by an Oido and a few destroyers. We were tempted to try and take that on as some practice, shall we say, for the double Yamato task force in the future. We're going to send Task Force Brawler over there to scout out anyway. The time is 16:49, so we don't have a lot of air time left, so we'll be proceeding in this region largely during the night time. At the moment that stands at 3.8 hours to get to the last known position, and the last known sighting was at very early this morning. It's 07:26 hours there. We do have some possible destroyer or even cruiser groups out here though, and we might even be threatened by Task Force, or Task Force Lightning might be under threat from this group over here. I don't want to rush into that because that might just be misidentification of a few submarines over there, and I don't want to rush into that at all, but we will carry on scouting northwards over here and just push our luck with the Shortland Islands. We might want to try and bombard that actually to reduce the enemy's sight in that area, make it a bit safer for us to actually push in as and when we want. And in fact, having said that, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that indeed? The problem will be it will take nearly 8 hours to get there. We should be able to get there under the cover of night just about. And actually, having said that, yeah, that should be just about fine if we do get there on time. Do worry about Buka sending in reinforcements though, of course, as well. So that's going to be our goal for today. Chase down the Yamato group over here and bombard the Shortland Islands, and of course keep the supplies running to Guadalcanal. And we'll see exactly what the enemy has in store for us along the way, I think. Well, immediately Task Force Lightning has been engaged by enemy dive bombers. We're going to immediately smoke up over here and get some sort of turn around. Let's turn to port over here. We'll make that a little quicker so we get a sharper turn off. So it is just the one flight of Vals. Should be 12 planes in the sky. We do see some scouts coming out, some Jakes over here of course. That is a second Jake. We have our own Kingfisher out, so we can't see any enemy surface vessels about, which means that very minor group we did sight on the strategic map isn't so nearby, that's going to be a problem at the moment. This does clearly mean there's a carrier on the way to the Shortland Islands though, and that is very nasty indeed. So hopefully they do carry on coming in somewhat piecemeal like this, one flight at a time. I'm sure we can fight that off with our AA there indeed. Well, now with it being well into the nighttime hours, we shouldn't have any operational aircraft. A bit sneaky of us to be able to have these Kingfishers still out. Not entirely sure where they are, but I'll take it at the moment. So we are going to be well on the way to bombarding the Shortland Islands, and we are exactly where we last spotted that Yamato group. So we're going to carry on in this direction, and I think we're going to take the initiative and bombard what was this one? Santa Isabel as well, just to make sure the enemy doesn't have any radar in this area, as well as they can launch out some float plane torpedo bombers to deal with any of our surface vessels in this area. Really don't want that at all, of course. So we'll carry on with that, and I shall update you as things move on. Well, Task Force Lightning has, or should have made it in range to bombard Santa Isabel over here, so let's do that. We're certainly able to. That's reduced to 0 and 0 there, so we won't be seeing any scouting or radar from there, and that's excellent. I think we will take the opportunity to go back to Rennell Island and resupply there. We can see a possible cruiser group over here going to intercept Task Force Lightning on its way to resupply there as well. But I'm very happy to take that fight once we do resupply there. I think that's something we can certainly get rid of and remove enemy scout planes in this area for us. You can see we do have quite a lot of scout planes ourselves out, and nothing else really in the immediate area. We've got quite the gap in our scouting over here. Let's see if we can do anything about that. So what would be best to do so? Maybe 1 or 2 Wildcats from here. What sort of range would that be? That should be just about within their range. That's absolutely fine. Let's take just the one for now, and that is certainly going to be within range there quite nicely. Take one more. You take that all the way down. Should be able to shift click or something perhaps, I think, to take down 5 or something at a time. But there we go, absolutely not a problem. That's a gap in our recon plugs there. Well, I'm glad we did send this Wildcat out to scout the open seas north of Guadalcanal, because it looks like Task Force Brawler did very narrowly miss the enemy Yamato group they were sent out to find. So we have sighted that once again, shot down a scout as well. Very useful indeed there. So it's only a short range Pete. So we know that's there. We're going to mark that up once again. Hasn't changed anything there. We'll keep our previous marker there just to remind ourselves what sort of area that is operating in. Where is Task Force Brawler over here at the moment? We are being chased down by a cruiser group over here, but I'm adamant that we'll get our supplies on our ships and our ammunition restocked before we engage that. Well, after repositioning and restocking back to Guadalcanal, Task Force Brawler has come into contact with a very nasty submarine over here, just the one so far, but for some reason we're mispositioned to the point where we don't have a destroyer screening our starboard side of the Kearsarge. Instead it's a Brooklyn. I'd like to swap around the Jaguar and the Brooklyn to sort that out, but it's a bit of an oversight there. I don't know how that's happened exactly, but the submarine we have sighted is right in front of our Samson here. So we're going to charge on ahead at 12 knots. In fact, we'll make that 13. I'll move directly over there. In fact, we'll just we'll press attack for now, and with the Kearsarge, what we'll do is we'll speed up, make a port side or starboard side turn rather, and see what we can do about that. The Jaguar can bring up just behind the Samson and provide some sonar help there. Can break off with the Pensacola just to create some room, I think, over here. Illinois can break off as well. It's a somewhat slower speed over here. Atlanta can move up as well at 14 knots over here. Juneau can do the same at... we're going to have to dodge the Kearsarge, aren't we? So we'll increase the speed quite a bit there. Keep that in a straight line, and Brooklyn can charge on ahead as well to create some room, move away from the possible torpedoes going to be fired out from this ship here. We do see enemy scouts, so our AA fire will fire, of course, at these. We do have a Jake nearby and a couple oncoming here, possibly from the Yamato task force. Don't see any torpedoes fired out just yet. It looks like the submarine does want to disengage. If we look at that, it is, ooh, dearie dear, there's more than one submarine. Should have guessed that, really. Really should have guessed that. That's going to be tough. Oh, that's going to be tough. Because that will very much threaten the Illinois as well. That's going to have to move away over here, port side there, and just get a narrow profile there, I think. Kearsarge will want to charge in a little bit for a tighter turn. really force that rudder to turn. See the torpedoes so close here. Increase speed to max there then. We are going to take a torpedo here. Absolutely going to take a torpedo. But I don't think we've taken one this whole series, so I can't complain too hard, can we? How hard is that going to hurt? Quite hard is the answer there, of course. Alright, so we can stop there, I think, and focus on the Illinois. I think Samson here can go to 12 knots, and we can leave that depth charge attack on automation for now as we focus on dodging with the Illinois here, which will need to increase its speed and turn into these torpedoes, I think. In fact, stop the turn quite so hard there and try and thread the needle. And everyone needs to activate their best torpedo beats at the moment. I think we're sighting another submarine apparently. We'll have a look at that in a second. Tighter turn here please, just to thread that a little harder. And... oh no, just wasn't quite early enough on that turn. Not quite so bad as the Kearsarge at all actually. It didn't penetrate through to our magazine as with the Kearsarge. So we can stop there I think. Yeah, we have sighted this number 2 over here, which will be the culprits for hitting our Juno. Juno, reading that wrong, just looking at that for orders. For hitting our Kearsarge. We do need to watch out for Minneapolis. Okay. This is going to be a horrible torpedo strike here. I just want to keep going straight there. Oh, it's because of evasion that's decided to just stop right in front of the torpedoes there. So I think we're going to take 2 here because we just can't get our engine active in time, and that's going to be one on the bow unless that skirts under. So that might just... oh, that was close. But the Jenkins now, because we're just tunnel visioning, please, ahead. I'm just panicking now, pure panic. Full speed turn in please. We see we're depth charging with the Samson there. Oh dear, are we going to take one to destroy this Fletcher? That might, no, that's going to take out our rudder and propellers that. Oh dearie dear, oh dearie dear. Yeah, that's the aft completely destroyed, and I think that will just sink us outright, to be honest. Are we even going to get damage here? Looks like we have struck the aft of this particular submarine, puts us out of action. Looks like the engines, propellers, rudders, they're all gone. Let's take a true report. Moderate to moderate. It's quite likely with a submarine being so fragile that what will happen is that will succumb to flooding. I think what we'll do is try and re-establish contact with this particular submarine over here. I'll just make sure that's going through properly and try and clear these orders, because that's just not bloody working. Can I cease with everything there? We'll leave a mess on the map and see what happens there. Everyone ignore the spaghetti lines. Yeah, let's just stop. Make sure we don't get any collisions then. So a devastating attack. Absolutely devastating. That's going to sink a Fletcher. And that's going to mean our Kearsarge will have to be out of action. Because we have just taken permanent flooding to our magazine there. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's going to reduce our gun power to 50%. Now we'll be good at running away because our rear guns are the only ones operational there. So that's a shame to use the Kearsarge and not really get a major engagement out of it, to be honest. Bit of a sad time, but we do have command points to change that out for another battleship. Might be the return of a Montana for now. That's a shame. That's going to spend quite a long time in the dockyard. Okay, so we've caught up with the number 2, which did fire off that depth charge. Don't know why I got that in my head. A torpedo strike there, of course. And it is a Type C, so no wonder it's bloody devastating. They can fire off 8 torpedoes at a time. And I wasn't keeping track there, but we are in a good position, I think. We'll just increase our speed by 1 knot to give some good lead there. Did do it by 2, but not a problem there. It's probably going around 10 or 11. And yeah, I think we'll drop. Just drop. Fingers crossed we get this. No sign on the other one we did hit succumbing to any flooding, which is rather sad, but hopefully that's enough damage to send that back to the dockyard at least and get that away from Guadalcanal. Looking like some fairly decent near misses here, but the explosions should carry over, you'd hope. Not looking too bad. Not getting any clear scoring or anything. Very, very close. It's never close enough though, is it? It's very frustrating after taking that damage on our lovely pristine battleships, which we've been looking after so well. Take a report. Oh, it's okay, heavy to critical, so there's a good amount of internal damage there. And that really is the best type of damage. So we'll come to a halt with our Samson and waste out any damage there that is still right below us. Might be worth actually just dropping a couple more depth charges here. We do have 15 in total remaining, so we'll increase our speed and get the lead back out there. Well, we did get revenge on that Type C, so it's amazing to see that down, but of course the damage on our end has been done. And what the bloody hell is this? That's the let's make sure no one's on fire at will, because we have a lapse in sight, and actually this submarine thinks he's hard enough to try and fire at our Kearsarge. The absolute travesty there that we can't fire with our main battery guns. Let's do some HE narrow fire on that, and we'll get the Jaguar to fire on that as well, shall we? Okay, didn't notice that. Good thing we stuck around because I'd have let that go. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff there. This is the only true way to destroy submarines. And that has gone down, which is excellent. So, yeah, the damage has been done on our end. We're going to have to send Kearsarge back to the dockyard. I don't want that to impact us too hard there. It's a shame that did breach through to our magazine, because I think I'd have happily left that, you know, with just the other floods there. But not to worry, I think we can survive with the Iowa here. Our total speed will be reduced by 4%, and that's not huge really, so we can live with that. We will of course be sending back the Jenkins as well, because that's hit our magazine, and that does remove 3 of our gun turrets there. So let's go back and send them home. Okay, well, fairly interesting situation here. We thought we saw a possible cruiser group trying to chase down Task Force Lightning after resupplying, and that does appear to be the case. That's the more immediate problem though, because there's also a possible battleship task force behind that at a greater distance, so we're going to have to win this battle, win it hard, just in case that is the case. There's a lot of cases. At any rate, we're going to obliterate this task force. So we can't spot them just yet, apparently. We'll let that go through. But having said that, we are just going to increase our speed to 31 knots here. Pull a... I think we'll pull a lovely little portside turn here to try and stay on the flanks of these ships for now. There we go, we can see. So let's take some time once again. We'll just, someone's annoying, but pause once again to identify these ships and send some firing orders out. So with that done, we're certainly ready to start moving out. Focusing a lot of fire on to the heavy cruisers, of course, the Alba and Takao. Very nice to see some Albas out, to be honest. We have destroyed all of the enemy's foot attackers. Those have not been increased in this particular mod. Quite happy to see that. Although But are we really? Because you very rarely see Albers and foot attack. It's always Mogamis into cows, isn't it? They are very nice ships. All of our destroyers are going to focus on this rear Akazuki here. This is going to put out a lot of very quick, swift firepower for us. That will reduce our own destroyers to dust very quickly indeed. Looks like it's got some good internal fires there already. We have had to remove also fire flak because the enemy does have some scouts in the area, and that's going to reduce our outgoing minor firepower from the destroyers by 100% really against the enemy shipping. Getting some very good hits already onto these heavy cruisers though. It's absolutely brilliant to see. And we are going to move of course to their flank a little harder, get our broadsides going, get some extra firepower coming out there very nicely indeed. Take the UI there away there. Looks like we've brought the Alba to a crawl already, which is excellent to see. Takal's struggling, but it is getting a good amount of its guns off. We hear a massive explosion going onto the central line of that Alba. Wouldn't mind seeing some very quick magazine explosions to get revenge for Task Force Brawler, of course. We're reducing this Akazuki down very quickly indeed. The massive volume of firepower going to reduce that down very, very quickly indeed. Let's take a look from our own perspective there. It's great to see that. Absolutely brilliant to see. So it looks like the Takal's also been brought to a crawl. Should we have a look at exactly what's going on here? The Alba is moving at a 10 knot speed. Let's go to Takal, which is moving at a 9 knot speed. We do need to watch out for possible torpedoes, of course. But I think at the moment if they fired any out, they'd hit their own ships. Especially this Oido here. I don't believe Oido actually comes with torpedoes. We'll double check that. The Alba's sinking, so we'll just take some time here. No, it doesn't come with torpedoes, which is rather unusual. And we have sunk the Akazuki as well. That's excellent. So we'll take a second to change all of our destroyers over, I think, to the Fubuki over here. We have identified this as a Yugamo. Not entirely sure if that's Yugamo, Sashi or Kagero once again. But we'll get rid of the Fubuki because that does have a massive amount of torpedoes. Very dangerous indeed. Not entirely sure what's going on between the Afridi and Australia here. We might just want to try and slow this down. Taking a lot of damage onto the Strong, apparently. Okay, how's that looking exactly? Need to move over some of these damage control teams to the flooding and fire. That'd be great. Should be alright. So destroyed a lot of firepower already. Let's take the Philadelphia over to the Oido then. So that was firing on to the Akazuki, not the Akazuki, the Alba. I believe the Alaska was as well, so that can rip apart that Oido very, very nicely indeed. Well, we did come out of that with 0 direct losses. However, the Strong is in a massively critical condition, so will have to be sent home, and we'll replace that with, I think, another Fletcher. We do very much like those excellent destroyers, as it were historically, of course. However, we did obliterate that Task Force for 11 lovely command points, removed some scouting as well on the way. And it's a bit of a shame to say goodbye to the Strong there, but by the looks of things, that's what the enemy was focusing their firepower on entirely there. So it's no surprise that went down. That does take away focus from our other ships. So it's a fair sacrifice, of course. Now, the problem is that we might very well have a second task force north of us, right in front of us indeed. Let's push out there, and what we can do is return. We'll take Task Force Lightning back just so that we don't rush into anything too nasty, of course, immediately at least. I do see a lot of scouting coming out here. As a guess, I would say the Yamato group is trying to pursue us, but we don't know for sure just yet. We do have some scouting going out in that direction. We send a few more, at least just one more Wildcat to send us out a little more precisely there. There we go. So we've finally got enough supplies and such to upgrade Port Moresby to a level 3 airfield, and that's going to give us some excellent Lightnings, Beauforts and Mitchells. Of course Air Cobras, but they don't have a lot of fuel and they don't really have any, clearly, attachments to send to them, so it's very close range combat air support there. So of course extra radar, always useful. We'll finally see, I think we'll actually bother sending out some Lightnings now. If doing new air, send them out with just some, don't need to send them out with anything. Send out just a handful, send out 6 Lightnings just to do some patrols around the northern sector over here, because we've largely, completely actually, if we're going to be truthful, ignored this area. So we'll see if anything comes out there. We won't put that on a repeated patrol. See what we fancy doing if we do spot anything later. Now it appears that this was a misidentification previously, so we don't have a second task force we thought we had. It was just a cruiser group, which in fact we were pursuing. But from behind us, the thus previously obliterated cruiser group did come. So this is still out patrolling. The problem we're facing now is a massive lack of intelligence. Out of context, generally in the southern area here, because we do see a fighter out in this direction, and that suggests that there's something, as a guess, in this general area here of open water. I don't think it's come from this area over here, because we are scouting the approach there very well indeed. So we are sending out 3 Catalinas to move in this sort of area and just cover this open water. They're very slow scouts, but they do have a lot of endurance, and that will really help us out here in this massive open water, as we've just said. So we should be almost in range with Task Force Lightning, so give it a go. Now we need to be a little closer. What does that say? Yeah, there needs to be 30 kilometers. That's absolutely fine. Get a bit closer there. Sending up a Montana and a Fletcher to help us out with Task Force Brawler, who is withdrawing at the moment. We can see that we're possibly being pursued by some submarines there. So we might want to do something about that. That would be quite smart, wouldn't it? Let's send out some depth charge armed Mitchells. I think we had the problem before that they weren't carrying any depth charges though, so that might be a bother actually. If we go to Rennell Island, do we have anything? Bring out some Mariners, which shouldn't have a problem there. It's probably just fiddling around with too many mods that's going to cause that. Once we've done this series, I will update, of course. But I think we'll double check our flanks there. Get some supplies onto Guadalcanal. We're somewhat close there. I think these large supplies, really, we don't need so much supply and engineering at Guadalcanal for the moment. So we'll send that over to Melita to get that going forwards first. So we have actually made contact, and it was a single submarine. It still is a single submarine so far, chasing down our Kearsarge group. And actually has a second over here. In fact, I think we can see a third. Okay, what we're going to do is at least split in half here, because we do have 6 Mariners. If we form up here, take this group over to the number 2, and that can just take its time so far and come to the flank. We'll tidy that up as we get closer. But this group, I think, really needs to open its bomb doors. Double check they're all opening there. Okay, this one's actually closing, just double check that. I'm going to keep that open, please. There we go, lovely stuff. And what we'll do is tighten the turn and press attack. That would be great. Now press attack here. That will do it, of course. How are we doing over here? Yeah, we have just made contact and ensured there is a third submarine over here. Dropping our depth charges now. It's looking alright. Looking alright. No such thing like overkill at all. Let's double check the report there in case we missed. We did miss. That's rather interesting. We have managed to sink submarines while they're on the surface before with depth charges. Looks like we're line heading here, so we shall Vic. Reduce our speed a tad. And I think what we'll do is we are targeting an attack from here then. Really? Don't waste any time. Make sure that does drop. Love to see it. What we also like to see even more is a successful drop. You can see the scoring there, that has taken damage. So just a fluffed drop on the first go there. Then we have lost a mariner. Lost two. Not a problem there whatsoever. That is sinking there. It's yeah, a forced crash dive, of course. At least we got one out of the way, hey? Okay, so it's now the next day, 5 AM. We're fairly close with our large supplies to getting to Malaysia, but we're still going to approach. But we need to do some provisional scouting, because a couple hours ago, at night time, of course, we did very, very briefly spot an enemy task force coming southwards past the Rennell Islands over here, and it was marked as a battleship task force. I'm gonna hope that that is a intelligence there because of the poor visibility. But we'll see. We'll see. A miss sighting would be great. Move around here. Can't have gone too far, and there it is. So we're going to make use of our planes over here. Get the we get the Dauntlesses out first, I think, to slow this task force down. Okay, so from the formation, that's not actually a direct invasion fleet. That's more of a patrol and area guard there. So we have Yugamo Sashio Kagado here, and here as well. Nothing else in the ordinary there. A Sendai, a Miyoko, and a Tone. Okay, I thought we got rid of all the Tones. Unless we haven't actually seen any at all. That'd be rather sad. That'd be rather sad. Yeah, we've sunk a few Tones. Okay, not a problem. Of course, we've got a lot more there because of the mod we're using. So it's a fairly standard cruiser group with a Hatsuharu over here. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we'll go for, of course, focus the Miyoko. We'll focus the Miyoko. Come down. What's the number 4? Not a problem. What is visibility exactly? 34%. Sure we'll be within sight, but we'll come round a little wider here, I think. We will increase our speed. And we'll focus everything, of course, onto that Miyoko and get as much damage as we can out of there. Okay, so a very nice amount of bomb hits there. One dud, but absolutely not a problem. Of course, a few misses on that last group. We did lose a couple Dauntlesses there. So let's have a report. Heavy direct damage to moderate flooding. Certainly want to see how that develops. Give that some time to see how the damage control passes fare against that. And then we will, of course, leave the area. Well, unfortunately, nothing too drastic happened to that Miyoko, just dealing with its damage as it comes, of course. But I think really, guys, that is unfortunately all we have time for today. We've progressed a good couple of days into the game now in that session, which is very nice indeed. Did remove a good cruiser group over here, but not without taking damage ourselves onto Task Force Brawler. It's very sad to see indeed, but that is now reinforced with where are we? The Ohio, another Montana. Very nice indeed there. We do have Task Force Lightning over here waiting for the destroyer reinforcements. Now I did actually go for a Marne as a bit of a change there. We've seen enough Fletchers and such over this particular series. And I, for one, actually very much like Marnes because of their torpedo power, at least as far as the US goes, of course. Good options there. They do provide some good direct artillery firepower there. So, on that bombshell, we are going to leave the video there today, guys. Thank you very much once again for watching. I do very much appreciate all of you who do come and check out the videos. That's very much appreciated. So let me know what you thought in the comments section, and I will be very happily reading those as they come through. But once again, thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.